My name is Athena Sinclair. I'm 34. 3 months ago, I flew 18 hours to attend my sister's wedding. When I arrived at the venue, my own parents blocked the entrance and told me to leave. Only family is allowed, my mother said. You weren't invited. I stood there in the dress I'd bought 2 months earlier, holding the gift I'd wrapped the night before in my hotel room, and watched her face show nothing. No guilt, no hesitation. Just a door closing. Here's the part that made it worse. I'd signed every vendor contract for that wedding. Every single one, my name, my card. 3 days later, my mother called. Not to apologise. She called about a bill. $38,000. If you've ever paid for people who wouldn't hold the door open for you, this story is for you. Let me take you back to last November. The engagement. It was a rainy Tuesday evening in London when my phone buzzed with a FaceTime call from my younger sister. Brooke, 26, freshly graduated, still living 10 minutes from our parents back home. I'm engaged, she said, flashing a ring. Garrett proposed at the vineyard. It was perfect. I was genuinely happy for her. Garrett came from a well-known, well-off local family, the kind everyone in town recognised. My mother, Diane, leaned into frame just long enough to say, "Exciting news, right?" Her smile didn't quite reach her eyes. "I'll start looking at flights," I said. "When's the date?" "Oh, don't spend a fortune on a plane ticket," Diane said quickly. "It's just a small wedding. Mum, it's Brooke's wedding. I'm coming." "We'll see," she said, and disappeared from the screen. Looking back, that was the first sign. I just didn't want to see it yet. 2 weeks later, Diane called. Not Brooke, Diane, and she'd clearly been rehearsing. The venue needs a card on file to hold the date. "Your father's credit isn't great after the refinance, and Brooke doesn't have the history. We just need someone with good credit to sign. 4 contracts. You'd be doing your sister a huge favour. How much are we talking? About $41,000 total. You'd only put down $3,500 as a deposit. The rest gets billed after." I'd been down this road before. A car loan at 22 that took 3 years to untangle from my credit report. A plumbing emergency wire transfer at 28 that turned out to be tuition. But this was my sister's wedding, and I was the one with the stable job and the good credit score. "Fine," I said. "Send me the contract." Over the next 3 months, I watched the wedding come together from the outside. There was a group chat for the bridal party. I wasn't in it. I called to ask about the dress code, the seating, whether Brooke wanted me to say a few words. She let the second call go to voicemail. No invitation ever arrived, and printed or digital. I told myself that was normal. You don't formally invite your own sister. She's family. She's just included. 2 weeks before the wedding, Brooke posted a rehearsal dinner photo with the caption, "My whole family." My whole world, I wasn't in it. I hadn't been invited to the rehearsal at all. I almost called to ask why. I talked myself out of it. I used 5 of my 20 yearly vacation days and roughly $2,800 of my own money. Flights, a hotel, and a gift Brooke had once mentioned wanting, to be there. Somewhere over the Atlantic, I drafted a short toast about the games we played as kids. When I landed and texted my mother that I'd made it to my connection, it took 40 minutes to get 5 words back. "Okay, busy. See you tomorrow." The front desk clerk at my hotel congratulated me on being part of the family. I didn't correct her. That night, lying awake, I did the math I'd always avoided. Every wire transfer, every crisis I'd bailed them out of, every birthday text sent at 11 p.m. or not sent at all. I told myself one more time, maybe tomorrow will be different. The venue was beautiful. White fences, string lights, a gravel path lined with wildflowers. My father saw me first. His polite smile dropped, and he turned and walked inside without a word. Then my mother stepped through the doors, dressed for the role of mother of the bride, and stopped directly in my path. "What are you doing here?" "I'm here for Brooke's wedding, Mum. You need to leave. Now." I flew 18 hours. "People are watching," she whispered. "Mum, I'm your daughter. Only family is allowed inside. You weren't invited." Before I could respond, the groom's mother, Margaret, stepped out to check on the commotion. My mother's whole posture changed. Warm, easy, performing. "Oh, it's nothing. Just a distant relative at the wrong venue." Margaret looked at me, then back at my mother. "I thought you only had one daughter. The silence lasted 2 seconds. It felt like 20. I do, my mother said, laughing lightly. This is a cousin. She's confused about the schedule. Margaret went back inside. My mother's shoulders dropped in relief. I knelt down, set the gift on the step and said, "Keep it. It's for Brooke." Then I turned and walked back to my car. I didn't slam a door. I didn't raise my voice. I just left. And for the first time, leaving felt like the strongest thing I'd ever done. Back at the hotel, I opened my inbox. 4 vendor confirmations, all addressed to me as the contract holder, all with balances due within 5 business days of the event. A barn, a caterer, a florist, a photographer. Total outstanding, $38,000. That night my Aunt Ruth called. She'd heard my mother introduce our family at the reception as Frank, myself, and our Brooke. 1 daughter. Not 2. "Your mother told a room full of people you don't exist," Ruth said. "You don't owe that room a single cent." The next morning, Brooke posted a wedding photo carousel captioned, "Surrounded by everyone who matters." I wasn't in a single frame, and I was the only person paying for all of it. I had 4 days before the balance came due. I used them. I called each vendor and calmly withdrew my payment authorization, asking that outstanding invoices be redirected to the family hosting the event. No arguments, no drama, just a clear, repeated no. I cancelled the card tied to the contracts and flew home to London early. When my mother called about the redirected invoices, she was furious, then wounded, then guilt-tripping, my father's blood pressure, my ungrateful behaviour, the humiliation of the vendors contacting her directly. "You told Margaret Caldwell I was a distant relative," I said. "You told her you only had 1 daughter. That's not a misunderstanding. That's a choice. After everything I've done for you, this is how you repay me. You raised me. I'm grateful for that. But you also told a stranger I don't exist. Both things can be true. You said I wasn't family, so the family's bill is the family's responsibility. I sent 1 final email to my parents and sister. I would not be paying any part of the $38,000. The balance was theirs to handle as the actual hosts, and any future relationship would have to start with honesty, not invoices. Then I closed my laptop and made a cup of tea in the apartment that was entirely, unmistakably mine. My aunt eventually told the groom's mother the full truth. The Caldwell family was, understandably, upset about being misled on their son's wedding day, and made clear the bill wasn't theirs to cover either. My sister and her new husband ended up taking out a loan to pay it off, co-signed by his parents, who wanted their name off the vendor contracts as quickly as possible. Word travels fast in a small town. My mother eventually stopped attending her usual church. My sister texted an apology weeks later, except it wasn't really an apology. It was a request for money, wrapped in "You're my sister and I love you." I told her I couldn't help financially, and that the boundary I'd set was never about the money. It was about being treated like family instead of an inconvenience. My father, who almost never writes more than a birthday card, sent me an email a month later. I should have said something that day at the barn. I didn't. I stood there like a post while your mother handled it. I was a coward. "I'm sorry. I should have walked you inside. It wasn't a full reckoning. It didn't fix 6 years of financial rescues or a lifetime of being the family's afterthought. But it was the first honest thing anyone in my family had said to me since it all started, and I told him so. I got promoted at work. I started therapy, not because of the wedding, but because of the 34 years before it, unpacking a pattern my therapist calls functional over-responsibility. The belief that if you sacrifice enough, the people you love will finally see you. My parents have slowly been paying down their share of the balance. My sister and her husband are still married, still working through what the wedding day cost them beyond money. My mother hasn't called. I don't hate her. She's flawed and scared, and she built an image of a perfect family because the real one felt like it wasn't enough to her. That's not an excuse. It's just what happened. But I stopped pretending her version of love didn't hurt. And I stopped paying for a seat at a table that was never built for me. $38,000. That's what my freedom cost. And I don't regret a single penny I didn't pay. If you're the one who always pays, emotionally, financially, spiritually, for a place at a table that was never really set for you, maybe it's time to build your own table and sit at the head of it.